Welcome to another episode of Mole in the Morning Into Gaming News for October 26th, which is a Wednesday. And today we have actually quite a bit of news going on. The first, which is interesting, is that, well, the first reviews for Resident Evil Reverse are out. As you know, this is the multiplayer PvP game thingy, which has been in development for far too long. It was actually planned to release alongside Resident Evil 8, didn't happen, and now it finally comes out. And you might say, okay, why is this gaming news? What are we doing reviews now? No. we are not doing reviews here. Normally I wouldn't care for this too much because I would just say, yeah, okay, well, have fun. Like, whoever enjoys it, and who doesn't, well, who doesn't, right? The problem here is, and this is why I bring this up in the end, is because this is developed by the people who are also now developing Resident Evil, Silent Hill F, the new Silent Hill, which was announced, right? The big one. Basically the new Silent Hill 5, 6, or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, oh boy. I mean, if you're looking at the history of the developer who was working on that game, they haven't really done anything noteworthy, and Reverse would have been like the first horror IP they kind of worked on, and it's this maybe I'm wrong. I have seen enough developers who had to develop just the games they got ordered to by publishers because they needed the money. They have a new studio, they have to make the money first, right? It's pretty common that a lot of the big studios started out as like doing some side stuff, right? Just so they can get the money together that they then can create actually the projects they want to create, right? So this might be the same thing here for the Silent Hill F developer. But I will be honest, this doesn't really fill me with confidence when I see their history, and yeah, they are now working on that. It's the same feeling I had with when they announced that Blobber team, or Blubber, is working on the Resident Evil 2 remake. Now, Resident Evil Silent Hill. What the hell is going on with Resident Evil and Silent Hill in my head? As there's something weird. Don't know why. But yeah, they're now working on the Silent Hill 2 remake, and it's this. Really? We are giving a mediocre developer Silent Hill 2 remake? Okay. I mean, in the end, it's a remake. It's basically new graphics and some technical aspects. I'm pretty sure they can do that. It's still easier to do than doing creating its own game from scratch, right? So I'm less concerned about that than I'm concerned about Silent Hill F. Yep. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, the reviews now for Reverse are in, and it's apparently pretty bad. So yeah. Just wanted to put that out there because we talked about this last week when the whole Silent Hill live stream was happening, and we were seeing like all the developers who are now working on Silent Hill games, and my thinking was always, oh, well, that's kind of mediocre, isn't it? All right, let's see how it goes. Goes. I can already see this will be some fun gaming news, everyone. My English is perfect today. Like, again, it will go perfectly. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next news. Well, this is a bunch of Microsoft stuff. So prepare your butts. There's a lot and lots of Microsoft stuff coming up. Yes. First things first. Well, this is not entirely Microsoft, but it is definitely marketed under the Xbox umbrella. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is coming out on March 3rd. That is much closer than a lot of people have anticipated. And of course, yes, the game will be available day one on Xbox Game Pass. And again, has been marketed as the Xbox game, even though it's coming to PC, even though it's coming to PlayStation, right? But in this case, it was strongly marketed as the Xbox game, right? So that makes kind of sense. But yeah, March 3rd is now when the game is coming out. Speaking of more game announcements, yesterday was the big 25th anniversary live stream of Age of Empires. Yes, I have unfortunately missed out on it. I know how can I? How could I? How dare I? I don't know what happened there. It's kind of weird. I'm a little bit in a lull right now when it comes to like, oh, game announcements, yay. So I couldn't even bother to watch it, which is really unfortunate because apparently they had multiple amazing announcements. The first big announcement is that Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition, and of course Age of Empires 4 are both coming to Xbox starting next year. Age of Empires 2 DE is already coming out in January, which is pretty soon. And then Age of Empires 4 at some point in 2023. But, and this is the big part, this is actually the one I'm actually really hyped about, is they also announced that Age of Mythology Retold is in development. What does that mean? It's the remake of Age of Mythology. And that is absolutely fantastic because Age of Mythology came out after Age of Empires 2, and it was basically a branch off, a spin-off of Age of Empires. And I think did it so well. Like, when Age of Mythology came out, I actually still remember that, a little bit of story time with Mole here. Back in the day, so I was still very young. I was still like, I think 9 or 10 years old. 9, right? I was still very young. And buying video games was not really in my cards. And so what I did do is I was just like renting them. Like we had like not a Blockbuster, right? We had our own brand here. Blockbuster didn't exist here, but basically a Blockbuster, and they were also renting video games. And I remember on the release day of Age of Mythology, I was just waiting there for hours that I could finally rent it because so many other people were renting it immediately, and I think I reached the point where I was actually annoying the person who was working there, because I came in like every few hours to basically ask them like, is the game already there? Is the game already there? Is the game already there? Right. I remember that because I was so hyped for the game. And yeah, I did came back to it a few years ago, and it's still a fun game. Unfortunately, very much like the very old Age of Empire games, it couldn't keep up with a lot of things going on. So I'm actually looking forward to Age of Mythology Retold. I'm hoping that it will work out. We don't really know when it comes out. We don't know yet, but somewhere next year. And they did show a brief trailer. Unfortunately, no gameplay was shown. They literally just showed us a cinematic trailer, and that was it. And there was nothing really in it. It was more like a, hey, guess what we are working on trailer. You know? So, but that's still pretty neat. I am really happy about that. Now, speaking about being really happy about this, Microsoft had their financial year Q1 for 2023. And if you're like, wait, what? 2023 Q1? What are you talking about? Yes, look, Microsoft is doing their financial year a little bit different. Their financial year starts and ends in June. Yes, I know. I can already see your face and go like, what? Yeah, look, it's a thing. Just deal with it. But they had some information here, which was really interesting. So first things first, the gaming revenue grew slightly, up by 4% of a quarter. Xbox content and services revenue did decline by 3%, driven by declines in first-party content and in third-party content, with lower engagement hours and higher monetization, partially offset by growth in Xbox Game Pass subscriptions. And which makes also sense, like it was summer break. Hey, Director Guy, welcome in. It was the summer break, right? Like let's be real here. We didn't hit COVID in a lot of countries. This was actually like the first summer where things that kind of go back to normal, and a lot of people just use that. Like even my gamer friends had a lot of those. Yeah, I'm not in front of my PC. I'm not in front of my console. I'm using that summer because they couldn't do it for so long. So yeah, not really too surprising. Xbox hardware revenue grew by 13%, which is up by 90% in comparison to last quarter. What is also really interesting, so Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that the PC Game Pass, they call it PC Game Pass, right? So basically Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass are now kind of two different products in their books. It's like, look, everyone would just call it Xbox Game Pass, and then people will say like, yeah, for PC or not PC. But the CEO said that the PC Game Pass subscription have increased by 159% year over year. That's massive. Now, of course, keep in mind, 159% of what? Right? It's like of 10 people? Wow. Cool. No, of course, I'm talking about millions. Like, we know that people are, like, millions of people are using PC Game Pass. Like, we know that. But it is still, it would be a little bit easier to understand what this 159% means in perspective of like real numbers, right? So that we can have a better understanding what is going on. And yeah, that is still massive though. And let's be honest here, why not? Especially the PC Game Pass is so good. We have so many niche games coming to Game Pass, specifically curated for the PC community. Like, by the way, the game we are checking out today, Victoria 3, is on Game Pass. You can just play it on Game Pass right now. Speaking of Paradox games, all Paradox games, the newer ones, not the old ones, the newer ones, are all on PC Game Pass, and it gets even crazier with all DLCs included. And especially for Paradox games, where there are a lot of DLCs for a lot of their games, that's in itself a pretty good deal. It's kind of crazy, right? And the same goes for so many other things. Like, PC Game Pass is doing so well. It's also one of the reasons why Sony is so afraid of it, because they slept on it. They completely did sleep through the whole pay as a subscription and get like all the big banger games right at the beginning, and now they're panicking and they're doing a lot of dumb shit, and it's really sad to see. But yeah, Game Pass is definitely the secret weapon. The secret weapon of Xbox at this point. Like, no matter what you think about Xbox and Microsoft as a whole, like, I have my gripes with them for sure. But I think we can all agree that Game Pass is like right now the secret weapon of Xbox, or not even secret weapon anymore, but like the super weapon of Xbox. Like, if Game Pass wouldn't exist, it would be a very different Xbox we are looking at. So, of course, they're mostly interested to push this further. And Simon, I'm looking forward to trying Age of Empires on my console, although I doubt it will be a pleasant experience. Don't say that. Do not say that. Microsoft has been actually doing a pretty good job to bring a lot of the strategy games to the consoles, and don't lose hope on that. Like, so far they have been doing a pretty good job, and if everything fails, keep in mind, Xbox does support mouse and keyboard now, and I am pretty sure this is one of the games where mouse and keyboard is supported. So if everything fails, you can still use mouse and keyboard. But I'm pretty sure they will manage. Yeah. Hey, Sand, how have you been, man? Good to see you. Long time not seen. Hello. Yeah, like, again, Game Pass is doing fantastic. Speaking of another thing which is absolutely doing brutally fantastic, Microsoft CEO Nadella has said also that nearly half of Xbox Series S owners are new to the Xbox ecosystem. Half of the people who are buying a Series S have never owned an Xbox before. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy, and just shows how important the Series S is. Like, I know that people like to dump on it and go like, yeah, but it's a weaker system. Okay. But here's the reality of things. It doesn't matter if it is the weaker system. As long as it sells enough, it becomes important. And if we have learned one particular thing from Nintendo and the Switch, developers make it work. If there is enough people owning that system and they have to be included, they will do it. And by the way, I know there was this whole discussion about the Xbox Series S is holding back like games, yada 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 yada. No, we basically know that dude who said this was a massive idiot. I'm sorry, like you have no clue what you were talking about and you were an idiot. But like that the reason for all of this is that Arkham Knights, which was the game in question, is just absolutely shitty optimized. And they tried to hide that with raw power. It was just a shitty optimized game. So the Xbox Series S is not holding back anything. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point the Xbox Series S will just become like the Switch, where if developers want to put in the effort, they would do it to make it run on the Xbox Series S. If they don't, they would just offer the cloud version, like Nintendo Switch does already. And I know that is a kind of frightening prospect under the premise of Kingdom Hearts 2 on the Nintendo Switch, or the Kingdom Hearts series as a whole on Nintendo Switch through cloud, and that version is absolutely massive L. So don't play that on a Nintendo Switch. It's horrible. It's a disgrace. Yeah, like especially now, Sand, what you were saying, especially now with, let's just face it, with the economic downturn, like a lot of people are experiencing, like you have to make a decision. Buying a new gaming PC, well, not with an Nvidia card in it, that's for sure, because that is far too expensive. Or buying an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, which got more expensive. PlayStation, you are nuts. Or you could just, get an Xbox Series S for €250, get some Game Pass on top of it, and you have a console which will, at least for the next 3 years, easily get you through all the games. I mean, yeah. If you have to make that decision from a money perspective, yeah, it's pretty simple at that point. So makes sense. But yeah, those are pretty good numbers for good old Microsoft. Speaking of which, we have one last thing regarding Microsoft. Yup. This is the new Halloween trailer for RedFall. This is Into the Night. Yes, let's watch that together. Boop. I'm actually kind of looking forward to RedFall. It's kind of weird. Ooh. I really love the world design. It's so spooky. It reminds me so much of Secret World. Oh, she is new. Those cuts. What the hell? This is cool. Ooh, what the hell? What's that thing? I want to see some real gameplay. But this is really, really cool.
Well, it's red.
The blood, Chad! The blood! The blood is overflowing. Yo, that looks cool. Unfortunately, it's not.
Play it day one with Game.
Yeah, with Game Pass. Unfortunately, it still doesn't have a release date. Again, looks still pretty cool. I'm kind of curious. Yes, it's a looter shooter, but I'm more into it for the world vibes and for the world design and for the story they may be doing. So I'm looking forward for that. Like the last creepy game, which really tried to capture this spooky atmosphere all the time, was The Secret World for me. And I'm not talking about specific horror games. Like, I'm aware that there are specific horror games who are doing this. I'm aware of that. But I'm talking about who have horror elements to it, but who are not horror games at the core, right? Like, I see horror games in itself a little bit different. Speaking of a horror game, let's talk about Diablo Immortal. Ew! Nice segue. Thank you. So this is kind of interesting. Jay Wilson, who was the producer for Diablo for a very, very, very long time, and who left the studio in 2016, has been talking about Diablo Immortal and how this game basically came to existence. And TLDR, he blames Activision for it. And he was saying that after the Activision acquisition and after Activision has bought the company, it would have made some changes to Blizzard priorities. Activision's effect on Blizzard was like a frog in a boiling pot of water. Early on, it felt like nothing. But later on, the products that were newer and making money had enormous amount of pressure on them to produce. And he then said that the production as a full price release was unaffected, but he does claim that the team felt a push on the emphasis on lucrative business models. And one of the impact was that they wanted a free-to-play Diablo really badly. Like, they wanted this since day one. Like, Diablo was basically in Activision eyes, a perfect free-to-play game. They could monetize the shit out of it. And I mean, they kind of tried to do this with Diablo 3 and the Real Money Auction House. And then, well, you just have to look at Diablo Immortal and you know exactly what they would do. I'm a little bit concerned for Diablo 4 regarding that. But I hope that is not happening. It's Diablo Immortal. I think it's a wonderful showcase for me that even Blizzard doesn't really want to have anything to do with it. I know that we are always like, but yeah, Diablo Immortal is a Blizzard game. Oh yeah, developed by Blizzard. To be honest, I don't think that's true. Like, from what we have heard and what we have seen behind the scenes, it really seems like that the Chinese development studio did most of the work. That it wasn't really Blizzard. Blizzard was basically there for guidance, and Blizzard was there to make sure that Diablo is in the game, but everything else apparently got developed in China. Right? So it's like, yeah, it doesn't really surprise me too much. Sam, thank you so much for being here, man. Have a good lurk, and hopefully you have a wonderful day at work, and may it be quick. Have a good one. But yeah, so again, doesn't really surprise me too much that Activision really wants that, and they don't really care too much of what's in the free-to-play model. I mean, look at Overwatch. if you need another example of just, yeah, this didn't work out, just look at Overwatch. So that's something. But with that said, we are done with the gaming news. I know there's the Death Note Simpson episode where the first trailer was released. I will not show that. If you want to check it out yourself, it's fantastic. It's on YouTube, but I will not show it because Disney will eviscerate my channel, and I have no interest to let that happen. Yeah, they will murder me if I show a trailer of their Simpsons show here on my channel. No interest in that. Yeah, but we're done with the gaming news. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like. And if you're watching this right now on my gaming news channel, keep in mind that is my second channel and my main channel where we are doing the live streams. I'm doing video guides, reaction videos, and so on and so forth. That is at youtube.com/ChaosMole. Yes, it's the new system YouTube is doing. Just do youtube.com/@ChaosMole, and then that brings you to my channel. And we are streaming here from Monday to Friday, starting at 8 a.m. ET, with Mole in the Morning in your gaming news, which you just watched. And then we are playing video games, which you can watch on my main channel. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Till then, see you next time. Bye-bye.